Hey guys, Slink here with another tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make your bass lines sound thicker and deeper in the low end by designing a sub and layering underneath your bass line. You know, because you want your bass line to be hitting people in the chest when you play it at a big festival with a big rig or in a big club with like a massive sub stack, you know. But at the same time, you want your sub bass and your bass line in general to just have a lot of deep low end and sound good on all systems, like sound good in the car, sound good on people's headphones. So the sub bass that I'm going to show you how to design right now will cover all of those bases. Get it? Cover bases. So let's take a listen to what we have right here. This is our bass line. This is the MIDI notes for the bass line. And then we've got some drums and a sidechain trigger channel, which is just triggering this sidechain rack to the kicks and snares. So let's take a listen. Okay, pretty simple, but you know, you might be thinking, hey, that doesn't sound too bad. But if you really look at the frequencies here, we're really missing out on that 20 hertz to 40 hertz kind of range. And this is the range that's going to make your chest rumble. It's going to make your eyeballs vibrate in your head. So let's get started with designing our sub bass. We're going to start with an operator, and we'll set the first oscillator to a sine wave. And let's just take a listen. So we've got a lot of mess happening over here, and that's the result of a bad release and attack time. We could try increasing these values, but before we try that, let's put an EQ down, and we'll just set a roll off at about 350 hertz. I'm still hearing a lot of kind of clicks. The sharp volume cutoff is cutting that nice sine wave short and creating kind of like a sharp edge to the sine wave. So by increasing the attack and release time, we can smooth this out. Let's try 100 milliseconds and maybe 0.2 milliseconds for the attack. Not quite. Let's try 200. Almost. It's almost looking clean. 250. There we go. There we go. Really nice. We could maybe go 275. That's looking good. So the idea here is to introduce harmonics. We've got our one sub sine wave there, but for it to sound good on other systems like in your car and headphones and stuff, we want to introduce harmonics so you can hear it on systems that don't produce these low frequencies. So we're going to do that by just adding more oscillators. We'll set oscillator B to a sine wave, and oscillator C is already a sine wave. That's awesome. We'll set the same attack and release times for all three oscillators here. 275. And we're going to be doing some FM synthesis between oscillator B and A. So we'll select this option because green goes into yellow and blue goes out. That's perfect. We'll set our course to 3 on B and 2 on C. And I'm just going to bring the volume up on oscillator B and we can see what it looks like. I might just hold down a note actually. Okay, we're getting some kind of strange overtones with that, and this sine wave up here is probably too loud. We'll try and fix that. Let's bring in a little bit more of a harmonic here. What we're looking to make is a sine wave that's nice and loud here, and then the next one's a little bit quieter, the next one's a little bit quieter, and so on. So it's a nice kind of cascading volume, and it'll spread, you know, the sub bass across frequencies equally. We're going to do something a little bit tricky here. Just click that upgrade button. And on the filter, we're going to turn the filter to soft shaping, and that's going to, we're not even using the filter, like we're not actually filtering anything. We've got the filter completely open, but just adding this soft shaper is going to introduce a bunch more harmonics. Check it out. And we're kind of honing in on that nice cascading kind of pattern that I'm looking for. I think with a little bit of compression, we can dial this in. Let's go with a really subtle compression of about 0.5 or so on both bands here. And we'll just turn the volumes down. And I'm just going to tweak these volumes until I'm seeing a nice line downwards here. That's looking pretty good. Let's turn the channel volume all the way up, and we're just going to bring the output up until we're just, you know, teetering on the edge of that 0 dB level. Something like that would be good. And just to finish this off, we'll set the voices to 1, and we'll turn the glide on, and that will enable us to only play one note in the bass, in the sub at one time. You never want to play two sub notes at the same time. It's going to sound terrible. And for safety, we'll throw a utility on, click this DC button just in case anything funny is going on. And we'll set it so that the sub is mono signal only. We can throw all this in a rack. And we can call this awesome sub. Cool. Let's play our clip here now. Now, I said I wanted to be hitting around 20 to 40 hertz with this sub bass. And that's no big deal. We can maybe just transpose these ones down an octave. See what this sounds like. That's perfect. It's hitting nicely down in that range, and that's the exact range we want. And it's also hitting frequencies at a lower volume up in the higher frequencies. It's going to sound great on every system. So how do we layer this now? Well, since we've got these basses covered down here in this kind of range, we're going to want to EQ out those ranges on our actual bass line. So we might set a cut at around 100 hertz and maybe just boost a little bit there as well. See how that sounds. That's awesome. Let's just put a little bit of sidechain on the sub bass so the sub bass doesn't clash with our kicks. And we'll do a little A/B comparison here. I'll just duplicate this channel and take the EQ off of this channel, and we won't have a sub there. So we can listen to with sub here, and then without sub here. So let's take a listen. So you can tell that this sub bass is really adding a lot of thickness to the bass line. It's deep, it's heavy, and it's really rattling my chair with my sub pack here, which is a good sign. Cool, so I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, peace.